described. Right, everyone see my document there, the paradigm bit?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Right, so let's look at what a paradigm does. Now, there are a variety of terms that describes what a paradigm is. A paradigm, for me, is a mindset. A paradigm guides the way we look at the world. An example that I use to explain paradigms, and remember, we have paradigms in all walks of life. We have paradigms in all walks of life. So if we think of the paradigm that I might have used in class already, until 2008, the paradigm about aging was that it is a process that we slow down. So everything up to 2008 was about to make people look younger for longer, to slow the process down. In 2008, there was a significant shift in paradigm. And the mindset post 2008 was that aging is a disease to be cured. And the moment you shift from trying to slow aging down and treating it as a disease to be cured, everything changes in terms of your science, in terms of your approach. I mean, we see things like body parts being 3D printed. Now, that mindset, that view of the world guides your thinking in terms of every single aspect of an organization, and it also guides our thinking in terms of what we do in research. So in terms of the paradigm, when we look, and I'm not going to go back to it, I think we had the research cycle here. Maybe it's worth doing that. Hold on a sec. Where is that? Okay, no, I've not put it up. But if you look at the research cycle, the one thing that never happens is that mention of the paradigm is made. And it's important because we don't mention the paradigm, although we discuss it, because the paradigm becomes your lens. And I want you guys to remember the word lens. It is the lens that we view our research through. Now, in third year, you would have learned that there were three, and honestly, now we know that there's 7 or 8 paradigms, but there are 3 main paradigms. And those paradigms, can anyone remember what they were? Anyone remember what those paradigms were?
It's not the interpretivism, not that.
Interpretivism, spot on. Positivism, yeah, thank you.
And then the mixed one.
Yeah, critical realism. So depending on the point of view that you adopt, thank you so much. I don't know who TH is, guys, sorry. So when we look at which paradigm you use, it will determine the process that goes ahead. And that second slide I shared with you, thanks, Pranisha, critical realism, yeah, the mixed one. That slide I showed you and I told you to stick against wherever you're going to do your research with a quantitative and qualitative. The consequence of those bits and pieces that were included there comes from the paradigm that you choose. So depending on your paradigm, if you choose interpretivism, and I will discuss that in a second, you will go with qualitative research. If you choose interpretivism, you will go with quantitative research. We are not going to allow critical realism as a paradigm. It means it's a mixed method study. We don't have the time for you to do both quantitative and qualitative data collection and data analysis. So we're staying away from critical realism, but it is one of those. But to be honest with you, there's feminism, post-feminism, there's colonialism, there's post-colonialism, there's so many, and they seem to evolve over time. For us, the 3 main ones are the ones that you guys have mentioned. So the paradigm is your lens that you use to look at your research through. Now, again, as per usual, I've given a lot of additional information so that you can, in fact, when you start writing it up, have some information available. So the first one, yeah, cause and effect. And remember, we would have spoken about dependent and independent variables. The independent variable, obviously, the one that we manipulate. The dependent variable, the one that is impacted. Remember, amount of alcohol consumed and your ability to drive is the dependent variable. That will always be positivism. And you will then obviously from there use quantitative research, and we'll stay we'll stay within the specifics of what quantitative research requires. And then historical hermeneutic, and don't ask me to pronounce that again. It's based around stories and perceptions and experiences and trying to understand people in terms of those perceptions and experiences is interpretivism. And we now know that that results in qualitative research. And again, it determines the way we write, it determines the way we research, it determines the golden thread in terms of some of the terminology that we use. And that's why that second slide, I think it is still important in terms of getting it and sticking it against the wall where you are going to do your research. And as you guys correctly pointed out, critical realism is often about empowering people. It's about fixing problems. It's about empowering people. It's about practically making a difference in people's lives through changing their circumstances, changing their realities. So I've got other bits there. So the key word there, remember, it comes from it's the lens that we use to actually look at our research through. And you'll see some of the elements of a paradigm. And again, depending on which paradigm you've adopted, these would differ depending obviously on the approach that you've taken. So if we look at ontology, so I think ontology looks at what we consider to be reality. What is reality? What is governed by laws? You can see there is reality, your experiences, your perceptions, and obviously the moment you hear me say that, we know that it is going to be qualitative research and I'm adopting a interpretivist paradigm, or is it a combination? So in terms of positivists essentially, real is science. You can, in terms of a positivist approach, believe that everything can be reduced to stats and numbers, including, honestly, including human behavior. And we still use that in terms of predictions, how somebody would perform within the context of an organization. So aptitude tests, etc. Guys, can you hear? Prudence says she can't hear. Please tell me that I'm still hear.
I can hear.
Okay, Prudence, it's your side. Oh, Nadia can't hear either.
Hi, no, sir, I can. Sorry.
Oh, you can hear. Oh, sorry,
yes,
Nadia.
I can hear.
That's me. I can't read. Sorry, that should be the next statement. I can hear and I read it as can't. I'm not even going to comment on that. Guys, so essentially, when we think of ontology, what does exist, what can exist, and then what is real. For a positivist person, real is what can be proven through science. It is H2O making us water. If we wanted us to do an interpretivist approach around water, reality is experience, is perception. It would be, tell me your experiences of water, where you've had, some panic attack or whatever the case may be. But very, very clear that the difference is the focus. Water in terms of science is H2O, we know that. And then in terms of experiences, it could be, being on a journey out in the ocean and there's a horrific storm and it's caused trauma. Thank you for answering, Tanya, you're a star. Okay, Prudence. Right, so in terms of epistemology, I think it is what constitutes valid knowledge. What is what creates a valid theory? So it's the kind of things that the researcher would consider to be valid and reliable from a knowledge perspective. So when we think of knowledge as hard, objective, obviously positivist, and then can also be measured and be replicated through additional experiences and generalized, to that kind of knowledge will always be a positivist approach. When knowledge is subjective, it is the kind of experiences and your emotions and your perceptions. And if we see that as knowledge, that then is your interpretive stance. So you can see immediately in terms of the terminology used, and I quite like the first two, hard and softer. Hard is what can we prove through evidence. in terms of softer, it is emotions, perceptions, realities, experiences. Axiological assumptions, it is the role of values. And really, when you ask people what they value in research, if you had to ask me that during my master's, I would have told you I value cold, hard facts, things that we can prove through experimentation, things that we can prove through proven theories. So in terms of that, from an interpretive perspective, I value giving people the opportunity to express their views, to share their experiences. And it really is what research should be. So in terms of positivist research should be something based around verified surveys, experiments that can be tested and retested. And then obviously it is what we value in terms of the research. And I think it's, and you can see some of the things there. The kind of things we value will depend on, again, whether it's interpretivist, which is I value listening to you and your experiences, versus positivist, which values cold, hard facts. Now you'll see I've bombarded you with tons of additional information. So ontology, the reality, epistemology, what we consider knowledge, what do we value, and what do we consider in terms of logic. Guys, you can see that in terms of this, I've added a lot of additional information. And remember, please ignore everything there. It is 1 or 2 in terms of that. This is a pretty decent slide. So from an ontological perspective, what is reality? In terms of positivism, it is objective, it is singular, it is what can be proven and reproven. From an interpretivist perspective, it depends on your perceptions. Remember, we talk about perception being reality. Going back to my accident, reality in terms of that accident is the accident reporter that arrives and measures the length of the skid marks, that goes and looks at reaction time, looks at other hard facts in terms of braking, etc. The interpretivist would be interviewing those people who had observed the accident and getting their points of view on it. And then epistemology, it really is the idea that when we think of what we see as valid knowledge here is something that's objective. It is completely separate from the researcher. When in reality, when we do it from an interpretivist perspective, your involvement, you interact with creating that knowledge. Guys, and then axiology, you can see there, value free, unbiased, the role of values. And here we know that our own values will impact our analysis, but we account for that. Often we choose research that is close to what we are concerned with. It's close to our own experiences, and we account through that in terms of our discussions. Please hold a second. Right, and then you'll see in terms of the way you write, formal style, so always in the third person. And this is where we need to spend a bit of time. It doesn't mean because you are allowed to use your personal voice that you write it similar to, and this is something I wrote on one of my students who thought the idea of writing informally was sounding like a speaker at a gangster's funeral. That's not informal. I mean, you can't go to the level where it doesn't sound academic anymore. The other thing in terms of the tone and the language we use, it has to be appropriate relative to the kind of subject, the kind of topic that you are looking at. The terminology used in finance research would be very different to the terminology used in HR research and supply chain research, etc. And then from a methodological perspective, so when we talk about research being deductive, hold on a second. Oh gosh, now it happens again. So I'm waiting for the criticism to arrive. Yes, Da Vinci is back, guys. Right. So when we look at it from a positivist perspective, we do deductive research. Sorry, I have to find my pen. We do deductive research. Let me just find where my pen is. And like last night, I haven't plugged my writing pad in. So remember all of this, guys, when you evaluate me. Lecturers unprepared for class. Right. So when we look very quickly at deductive, which is positivist, when we look at a deductive approach, let me just find where my pen is. When we look at a deductive approach, we move from the general to the specific. Picasso is back. Picasso, Da Vinci. I was called Da Vinci last night because apparently I'm lying on my back painting with my toes. I was deeply offended. In terms of deductive, we move from a generalized theory and we go find specific evidence of how that theory exists within a particular context. And then inductive research, where we move from the specific. So we move from the specific behaviors, actions, perceptions, experiences, and we create a generalized view of that. Now, and I would have said this right at the beginning, we do not expect you at this level to create 25% extra, Sarah. I love hearing that. I'm going to make NFTs out of all my art and sell it online and become a gazillionaire. So here we create a generalized view. Now, we're not expecting you to go and create a new theory, but you'll add theory to what is out there, and it will give us some information in terms of your analysis and your findings. So inductive, this is interpretivist. I know that there are some campuses that allow deductive interpretivist approaches. We don't allow that. If you want to do deductive, you're doing it quantitative. For me, deductive qualitative research doesn't make sense, and we won't allow that. Sorry, and that just is me being a little bit pedantic. So in terms of deductive approach, moving from the general, the theory, and finding specific bits of evidence within the context of whatever your research is. Inductive, moving from the specific experiences, perceptions, those kinds of things, and creating a generalized view. And obviously, in terms of the deductive approach, you'll adopt stats and numbers, etc., to prove your theory within the context. And then from an inductive approach, you'll do some sort of content analysis. And we'll do all of that when we go through it. Right. Any questions at this stage, other than paying me compliments for my wonderful art? Okay, let's move on to the research design. Now, remember, I will remind you a bazillion times of this term, and it is the golden thread. So if you've now told me that you're adopting a positivist approach, your golden thread would be quantitative and all those elements that relate to quantitative research. If you've told me that you're doing interpretivism, you better do qualitative research. That golden thread is essential. And remember that second slide, the one that you've stuck behind on the wall behind wherever you do your research. So when we look at research designs, the two we focus on are those, quantitative and qualitative. When you get to your master's, absolutely go do a mixed approach, but certainly we don't have the time for it at this level. So in terms of research designs, you will have the qualitative option, which is about words and interpreting words based around experiences of individuals. And then you'll have a quantitative approach, which would always be the idea of using stats and numbers. And you'll also see, you can see some of the details already separating. In terms of a quantitative approach, you use closed-ended questions because you're verifying a theory. And then obviously from a qualitative approach, you will use what and how questions. And you'll see we'll drill this into you as we go through the year, but you'll use what and how questions. There's nothing else that matters other than what and how. If you want to use why questions, go and do deductive research. And then I think the reality is, when we look at it from a deductive perspective, it is surveys. You certainly are not going to experiment on anyone. And then when you are doing qualitative research, you will do interviews. I think if you are really proficient, if you're a really good academic, then we can consider, at a stretch, we can consider focus groups. But running a focus group is very difficult, and it requires a lot of experience. And I think we are going to be very careful in terms of allowing people to use focus groups. But I would just do interviews. In terms of quantitative research, you will do a minimum of 25 questionnaires. Most of you that have decided on quantitative, we've already looked at scales that we can use. We're going to use existing scales. And the reality is that you'll use, in all likelihood, either Microsoft Forms. I would use Google Forms. And the way you present your information, everything is very different. Qualitative research, obviously, the truth is it's going to be through interviews, and it is going to be those what and how questions. So if we look at qualitative research, the one thing I want to start suggesting now, once you've committed yourself to either quantitative or qualitative, go and delete these slides that don't relate to you. Okay, so Tammy and I will keep all these slides, and your supervisors will get all the slides. But I would do a save as if you want to keep the slides for your masters in case you want to do quantitative research or a mixed methods or the other way around. But in my mind, I would start deleting the slides that don't relate to you. I would keep these slides, though, for your master's degree. These slides are very good. They've taken a long time to put together. So in terms of qualitative research, what we look at would be through interviews, and interviews based around open-ended questions. We normally describe those interviews as semi-structured, open-ended interviews. And we go and find normally about 8 participants. Generally, we will want 8 participants unless you get to something called data saturation before the 8 participants. That is when you get to participant 5 and participants 6 and 7 say the same thing to you. You're not learning anything new. So in terms of the research design, I think it really is to make sure in terms of getting this right now, because you have to maintain your golden thread. So if it's positivist, you'll use this slide. And it's about testing things. It's about using existing scales. It's about stats and numbers. And that's why we do surveys. And all of this essentially is about making sure that you can verify things through stats, through numbers, can prove things from an objective perspective. And then obviously we will test theories deductively. So if you remember, moving from the general, testing theories, the general, and we go test it within a particular context, that is the deductive approach. So when we think of quantitative research designs, okay, I'm not sure how you're going to change this slide. You will have only that one, surveys. Please don't consider doing experiments. Can I also just say, and the reason we leave the extra information in is because these slides can be used at a master's level. So it's something that you'll take forward if you want to consider going further into your studies. In terms of qualitative research, all those options are available. Generally, grounded theory you'll only do when you get to your PhD. It is incredibly complex. You have to be very intelligent to do it. And that's why I did my PhD through grounded theory. Sorry, guys, it's so difficult to be humble. But you will do a phenomenological approach, okay? And we adopt the phenomenological approach because you will be researching a particular phenomenon. So if you go and look at your qualitative titles, you'll see that each of those relate to a particular phenomenon, and therefore we will stay within phenomenology. we're not going to do ethnographies, case studies. I think it takes a lot more time. Narrative research is often more in terms of psychology. Ethnographies, yeah, more a psychological approach. Psychology research. Not going to worry about mixed methods. So once you've got your research design decided, you've decided which approach you will adopt in terms of collecting data, you will go to your population. Now, in terms of your population, it is important to funnel the people that you want part of the research versus those people that can actually be part of the research. So in terms of population, it would be all those individuals that could potentially suggest, make a difference, make a contribution to your study. I'm thinking of Georgia, in terms of her research, and she's sort of considering talking to NGOs in the food security sector. She wants to do rooftop farming, and that would be your population. The key thing in terms of your population is this thing here, the one characteristic. In terms of Georgia's approach, it would be the fact that we are dealing with NGOs involved in food security. And then that would provide, that characteristic would provide your population parameters. And we'll start talking about the size of the population, what makes them unique. So we can start filtering down to saying in Cape Town. And then obviously, guys, we then go to the target population and the accessible population. Target population from a funnel perspective, obviously broader. Accessible population, those people that actually will engage with us, whether it is through interviews or those individuals that will complete the questionnaire. And you'll see here, I've broken it down into specifics. Okay, you can have a glance at that. This slide is pretty important. Okay, in terms of target population, you can see people that fit into our population parameters, those individuals involved in food security, and then from an NGO perspective and the accessible population in Cape Town. Again, we've broken it down there very clearly. Here you start deleting slides again. If you are going to do qualitative research, remember the key difference is here we know that we will be subjective. So when we talk about non-probability sampling, in this instance, all your potential participants do not have an equal chance of being selected. We actually select people. We go and look for people who can contribute. And you'll hear this term again when we do qualitative research. We look for resource-rich potential participants. So generally, the way we do it is that you will do a non-probability sampling approach, in particular using purposive sampling. So purposive sampling is where we purposively go find people that we consider resource rich. We will always combine it with snowball sampling. Snowball sampling is where those people selected through purposive sampling would suggest others that can contribute to our research. So you'll see that the terminology will always be the same. So when you do qualitative research, it is purposive sampling because everyone doesn't have an equal opportunity to be selected. And then the specifics with that purposive sampling combined to snowball sampling. Now, in terms of quantitative research, again, remember, this is where you start deleting, and I would save as and then delete the save as file. Probability sampling, key thing in terms of probability sampling is that our respondents have an equal chance of being selected. Remember, we're looking at objective research, so everyone has an equal chance of being selected to be part of the research. My suggestion is, because it's honors, is to do simple random sampling. The best example of a random sample is just to throw all your names into a hat and then randomly draw respondents from that hat. Now, remember, if you were doing qualitative research, it would be participants, but because we're now talking quantitative research, it is respondents. You can use these random sampling, systematic sampling options where you have all your your potential participant or respondents a list, and then you number them 1, 2, 3, and you only select the number ones, whichever works for you, I would say, with simple random sampling. In terms of qualitative research, again, delete slides here, you'll see that from a data collection perspective, we will do open-ended, semi-structured interviews based around what and how questions. These interviews generally take about 45 minutes, but it depends on how resource-rich your participant is. Some people will spend more time, some people will spend less time with you. And remember, you do the interviews. The researcher, the person that will write the research report, will do the interviews. In terms of data collection, a survey. And we are making it a lot easier using existing scales. And I've already told everyone who is doing quantitative research to go find existing scales, to go look at your 2 variables and find a scale that relates to each of those variables. We do not want to reinvent the wheel. We want to use scales that have already been verified, been tested, that have already been made valid. And again, do this in, obviously, Google Forms. Go TW, your mic has been activated. I don't know who TW is. Okay, I think it just might be an errant mic. Right. Guys, this takes a bit of time, and I'm not going to bog you down in the details now because I can't teach it without showing specific examples. And this is future tense. This is down the road. This happens only once you've done your data analysis. So we will generally adopt a content analysis approach. We don't allow deductive research in our honors. You can do it if you want to do it elsewhere. It makes no sense to me. We only do inductive research where we move from the specifics to the general. If you want to prove a theory, go do quantitative research. So we go from the specific to the general, and then there is a process of coding. We will go into a lot more details around that coding. It takes a bit of time, but it is incredibly gratifying. Once you've started seeing patterns and themes and categories form, it really is actually a moment where you can nerd out. And then in terms of quantitative research, yeah, we're only supposed to do descriptive statistics, so the sort of mean, median, and mode. You guys would have done that before. Because we want some people to publish, we encourage you to go up to correlation coefficient. In my mind, correlation is a descriptive statistic. It's not an inferential stat. I mean, some textbooks might disagree with me on that. But again, we have a lot of information. We've got software that will guide you through this process and link together to prove whether you've proven your alternative hypothesis or whether you have to reject the alternate hypothesis. And then lastly, in terms of this document, I will share more information on this. Ethical considerations, you'll remember in terms of our orientation, we discussed quite a bit of detail around ethics. I will share past reports so you can get a sense of what goes into it. The key principles that we, however, want is autonomy. So it's about voluntary informed consent, and then the idea that people can withdraw at any time. I cannot say this, non-maleficence, the idea of doing no harm, and then beneficence, the idea that we're not doing this just for the sake of research, that we want to make a difference in the world. And that is the last bit. When you use these slides, the best way to use it is to go to the slide and then watch the recording, use the slides, write up that bit, and then go to the second bit, the third bit, and so forth. We've gone through this Yeah, once or twice now. I think we're getting a sense of it. And again, each lesson we'll unpack more, we'll focus more on finishing the detail around here. Any questions, any comments at this stage? Can I see who is very nervous? Nervous, good. Oh, fantastic, because then I've achieved my objective. I want you guys to be petrified. Guys, it's good to be nervous. If you're not nervous, you've not got yourself ready. Don't panic, because honestly, we've done this. Yeah, just remember, Tanya, we have got a bit of leeway in terms of that submission. I have a feeling we will move it a week. So if it says 17th on the pass, we are going to move it to the 24th. I think we're a little bit tight on time, and the 24th just makes more sense to me. But we negotiate those dates. But yeah, work around the 24th. Okay. GM, I don't know who GM is, guys. Oh, that's wonderful news, Nathan. Honestly, we've done this before. I think, yeah, no, I've done this before. And our supervisors are fantastic. Now we've got this. Just remember, you're not in this alone. You've got me for the entire journey, and you'll have your supervisor for the entire journey. Go, GM. Oh gosh, Ninapi. Sorry. Okay, Troy, you go first.
Yeah, sorry, Doc. I just wanted to find out, and I don't know if you mentioned it in the first online that we had, but just in terms of the research problem, the purpose, what is the length of that in terms of writing?
So you'll see that it is a concept document. So everything we do here becomes the foundation to what we do in the future. So you will unpack significantly more. But if you watch the recording, you'll see that we did discuss the sort of bare bones about it. Remember, those of you that were here, we sort of had the A, B, and C, although you weren't right A, B, and C. I would imagine in your concept document, your research problem, I can't imagine that it'll be more than half a page, but that will expand significantly. But also remember, we've got a word count overall, so you have to stay within that word count. Don't know if that answers the question.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. And then,
okay.
Is it just supervisor preference? When I did research with Dr. Keller, it's like, for example, it's a double space, full stop, double space, and then you start your sentence. Is it the same with this?
No, we stay within the Varsity College standard. It's a single space.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. It's not supervised. Those standards exist in terms of our Varsity College almost branding process. Tam, I don't know if you want to come in on that. The standards remain what they are. No double space stuff. That's nonsense, boy. Okay. Ninapi, you've got your hand up. Okay.
Oh no, sorry, I was just responding to the being nervous part.
The nervous part. Oh, don't worry. We've got this. Sorry, I thought your hand was up for something else. Yeah, please take your hand down. You've got to stay behind so we can sort out your title. Okay. Those of you that haven't got titles yet, I don't want you to stay behind if you want to make your title better or refine it. Okay, just those without titles. Go for it, Duncan.
Hi, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Yourself, boy.
Good. So I just wanted to ask, I don't know if you've explained, but for the template, do we get templates?
Yeah, I'll give the template to you. I've got it somewhere. I'll upload it. Okay. So you'll get a template for each of these submissions. Okay. Just put your hand down, Duncan. Okay, so guys, only those people who need titles to stay behind. I'm not refining titles now. I think there are a good few. We've had a couple of late joiners as well. Okay. If there's nothing else, those of you that don't need your title, cheers, guys, look after yourselves. Hey? And we are moving very rapidly. Complete that form. Okay. Cheers, everyone. Pleasure. Cheers, guys. It's a pleasure, Lakeisha. Cheers to Sheila. Pleasure, Eth. Okay, Deirdre, cheers. Hey. It's a pleasure, Kesh. Pleasure, Nathan. Hi, Deirdre, wonderful. You too. Yeah, only people who don't have a title. I'm not, cheers, Prudence. I'm not refining titles at this stage. Only if you don't have a title. If you stay here and you have a title, I'm taking 25% off your first submission on principle for irritating me. Am I to assume people who are here haven't got titles?
Yes.
Okay, who wants to start?
Can I go since
Go, Lucretia.
Okay. Do I just give you like what I have thought about, and then you can
Yeah, or
tell
you
me.
can wait for me to try and read your mind.
Okay.
Let's try that first. That's sarcasm in case you didn't get it.
No, I did.
Just remember when you evaluate me, all of these things go into it.
No problem.
Go,
Okay,
Lucretia.
so mine, I've put here data-driven decision-making in retail, unlocking the potential for business growth.
Data-driven decision-making.
In retail?
Decision-making in retail.
Yeah, unlocking the potential for business growth.
Okay, yeah, no, we'll sort that out. Okay, what is the research problem? What are you trying to research?
So basically, regarding data analytics and basically the influence of it in decision-making processes, and how it can contribute to the overall growth of a business.
No, we've got something then, because I mean, we know we're in the era of big data. Yeah, definitely mention the term big data in your title, because I think that's now become common terminology. Yeah, data-driven decision making. So will it be quantitative or qualitative?
Qualitative.
Okay, so easy, exploring the role of data analytics in data-driven decision-making in the era of big data. And you can then, sort the fanciness out. Okay, so exploring the potential role of data analytics in promoting data-driven decisions in the era of big data. Okay, I know you can refine it better than that. But
Yeah,
you've got something there, Lucretia.
Perfect. I'm just going to have to listen to this recording again and refine
Oh,
that.
gosh. Okay, let's go through it. Exploring the role of data analytics.
Okay, I'm just writing this down. Exploring the role of data
analytics.
Yes.
In promoting data-driven decisions. And then I would go ...
Okay.
An era of big data, the era of big data.
The hero, sorry.
The era, E-R-A.
The era, okay, the era of
big data. Are you
big
saying
data.
my Afrikaans accent is that bad?
No, I think it's just my ears.
Exactly.
I'm not listening. Okay, so it's exploring the role of data analytics in promoting data-driven decisions, ... the era of big data.
That's
Got
it.
you.
In retail, data-driven decisions in retail.
In retail.
And then ... Yeah, we've got something there. Okay, I already know who I would allocate you to in terms of who as a supervisor. Hey?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, cheers, then. Pleasure.
Hello, Doc.
How are you, but
Good. Can I go next?
Yeah, go.
So,
is it Jono or Jonathan? What do you prefer?
Either. I'm
okay,
cool
Jono. Okay, let's go for it.
So last year I had done my undergrad at VC Santon. So I do have a title. I just wanted to make sure that it's still fine for you.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
So larger it was exploring the perceived impact of cultural diversity in fostering a positive work culture.
Okay, so yeah, you won't use the word impact ever. So you use explore the role.
Okay, explore the role.
So just replace impact with role. Just read it now to me.
Exploring the perceived role of cultural diversity in fostering a positive work culture.
Okay, will it be quantitative or qualitative?
Qualitative.
Okay, so it is exploring. I would just put it in an industry.
Okay.
Okay, so which industry you will access?
So I must choose a specific industry to.
I would use an industry, but even if you don't, I mean, the supervisor will suggest that to you.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
You've
Thank
got
you so
something
much.
good. Cheers, eh?
Have a good evening.
You too. Okay, who's next?
Hi, sir.
Who is that? Yashna. I
Yashna.
thought you had one. Yashna, you my student, man, from ages ago.
Oh, you do? I know, but I'm a bit
You used to
confused. I have
irritate me then,
two.
and you're now going to continue with it now.
No, so I was business management. You can't.
Okay, go,
So
Yashna.
I have one for the relationship between adaptive strategic management and business performance in 2025, and one for what are the biggest barriers preventing organizations from adopting sustainable business strategies.
The second one is ho-hum, Yashna. I like the first one. You just need to get an industry. I really like that first one. Okay, you obviously just read that to me again.
Explaining the relationship between adaptive strategic management and business performance in 2025.
Okay, that's pretty good. I just want to quickly see, because obviously it's quantitative.
Yes.
Okay, adaptive strategic management, scale, scholarly article. Have you done this already, Yashna?
I haven't, but it's intriguing.
Okay, because we're not going to reinvent the wheel. Okay, let's just see if there's something here. If there is an existing scale, it would make our life a lot easier. Just go see. Okay, it's not rendered much, but you can see already what we've got in terms of just look at that. Okay, they're appraising it must be that guy. Okay, appraising adaptive management. They must have a scale in here. So go look for an existing scale, and then company performance. We can just use the balanced scorecard.
Okay.
You remember the balanced scorecard. Remember measures of finance, measures of customer, measures of internal business process, measures of learning and growth.
Yes.
Good. You're saying it yes because you know I'm going to shout if you say no, because I taught that.
I know.
You've got something, Yash. You definitely have got something there, hey?
Oh, thanks, Zach. I'll see you.
Okay, cheers. Hey, look after yourself.
Bye.
Bye. Go, who's next? Guys, who's next? Who's next, guys? Okay, Minapi, you go.
Hi. Investigating gender-based violence has changed the livelihood of those living in South Africa, semicolon, but particularly in the country.
I cannot hear it all, Minapi. Please type yours. I cannot hear it all. Please. Okay, type it in there. Okay, maybe just type it for me, okay?
Hey,
How's it? Oh, she's it happens, hey?
Hi. But everything else stays connected except for my laptop. I literally had to reset. So I just have popped back in here to check in. If you needed that list from me, because I see you've got the students. Looks like you've got everybody that needs you here.
We hope so. Yeah, we've got a few more to do, but we've already dealt with 2 students. So yeah, hopefully everyone will be able to complete the list tomorrow, or the questionnaire tomorrow.
Perfect. And then I'll check in with you tomorrow.
That's perfect. Thanks, Tam. Thanks for visiting.
Yeah, just pleasure. And if any of these students, if any of you guys need to chat, anything sort of outside of REBS that you need to be caught up on, etc., please just let me know, and we can schedule the chat. Thanks, Henny.
Cheers, Tam. Bye. Tammy, please type. Sorry, Napi, please type yours. Look for chat and type it there. Riyadh, you keep dropping off, so you go next, but. Riyadh, can you hear me? Okay, Tabi Singh.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go, Riyadh.
Okay, so
joined. Okay, you've joined twice, boy.
My laptop isn't allowing me to speak.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's fine.
I just had to connect on my phone quickly.
That's fine, boy. Go for it.
I have an evolution of the use of strategic management in enhancing competitiveness in South Africa SMEs. A cross-sectional quantitative study using questionnaires.
Yeah, no, there's a mouthful in that we can improve on. Just read the first bit for me again.
An evolution of the use of strategic management in enhancing competitiveness in South African SMEs.
Okay. And can I just say, so it's quantitative.
Yes.
You're doing quantitative.
Yes.
What does the evolution of strategy mean, but?
Not really sure.
Okay. Why don't you look at the relevance of the traditional strategic management model, and then you link it with your second part there.
So you said the relevance?
The relevance of?
Of.
So the relevance of the traditional strategic management model.
Yes.
Within the context of a VUCA environment, a VUCA environment.
VCUA.
Yeah, VUCA. Okay. So volatile, uncertain, chaotic, ambiguous.
Yeah.
It's actually quite clever because there's still companies that stick to, and that's what you mean by the evolution, okay? There are still companies, and it'll be quite good to do a proper bit of research on that. How relevant the old model is. There has to be other bits of research which you can find. Hold on a second. Let me just quickly check here. No, you can type it yourself. Just go into traditional strategic management and the VUCA environment, and then go scholarly articles.
Okay, that will be on ARC, right?
No, man.
On Google.
On Google.
Oh.
ARC is nothing. Okay, ARC is not our most important, but is it on ARC? Thank goodness I'm recording this to laugh at you later. That's on Google. So
okay, perfect.
So type traditional strategic management model and VUCA environment, and then go scholarly articles. And you've got that, but
yes, perfect. Thank you so much.
Cheers, hey.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Pleasure, man. Please disconnect both. Ngapi, we would not allow that to be researched. There's no way at an honors level that will allow it. It's too sensitive. It's also not related to business. We would never, ever allow that. Okay. I'm going to stop that in its tracks. We can't do that as research. We've got to find another area, but definitely not that. Okay. Okay. Tabi Singh. Human language. I don't even know what human language technology is. Can I quickly see? You want to explain to me what human language technology is, Tabi Singh? Where's Tabi Singh? Human language technology. Oh my gosh, I quite like that. Oh, I dig that. I would use it in a specific industry. Tabi Singh, I don't know if you can hear me, but that's pretty cool. I would use that. So we can refine it, but you definitely stay with that. Okay, so do you want to do it quantitatively or qualitatively? Do you want to do quantitative or qualitative? Quantitative, qualitative. You've got quantitative. Is it quantitative or qualitative? Quantitative. Okay, so explaining, you need to type this or write this your side, okay? Explaining the relationship between human language technology and we can find better terms than this, and successful organizational communication. Explaining the relationship between human language technology. Explaining the relationship between human language technology and effective organizational communication. I would make it internal, effective internal organizational communication. How does that sound, Tabi Singh?
That sounds good, sir. Thank you.
So now you talk to me after I'm thinking you are mute. That's very cool, Tabi Singh. That's very cool. I've never heard of human language technology. I've learned something tonight. Cheers, Abe.
Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, and RP, that's absolutely fine from a BCom law perspective, but we wouldn't ever allow it in management. I don't mind the idea of e-commerce and traditional business models. You know, I would just e-commerce and traditional customer interaction business models or something. You can definitely do that. Do you want to do quantitative, or you'll do qualitative if you did BCom law? So and we'll refine it later, but exploring the I don't like impact. We can't use impact. Exploring the role that e-commerce, explaining the role that e-commerce has played in changing traditional business models. We'll refine business models later, but we can definitely do that. Exploring the role that e-commerce has played in adjusting, in causing companies to adjust traditional business models. We'll improve the English, but you've got something there. Okay.
Thank you so much.
It's a
am I
pleasure.
able to do quantitative though instead of qualitative?
Well, if you've done BCom law, honestly, you don't have the background to do quantitative. Hey, BCom law is black letter research, and BCom law is qualitative research. Hey, I would stay with qualitative, Ninapi. It's not your natural habitat. That hey, you
Yes.
went into
Oh
law.
no, sorry. I thought you said qualitative.
No,
Sorry.
yes, you've got to do it qualitative. You're not doing it
Oh, okay.
quantitative.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Because
Yes.
remember, in law, we
Thank
have
you.
black letter research, which is very similar to
Yeah,
qualitative. Hey,
yeah,
you're
true.
not going to cope with quantitative. You don't have the foundation to that. Hey,
That's thank you.
okay. I have to be honest here.
Yeah, no, true.
Rather save
Thank you.
rather be honest now and save the pain for later. Honestly.
Oh, for real. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Minapi, we've got to
Thank
start.
you.
Fill in the form. Hey.
Mm.
Cheers, cheers. Jonathan, you still quiet, boy. What's happening?
Hello, how are
I was
you?
saying you can go, please, so that I can see who I still have to deal with. Nyapi, you can go as well. Okay, Jono, go for it. Is it the same Jonathan I've already dealt with?
No,
No,
sorry,
gosh,
man.
I was hoping it was. Okay, go, boy.
Okay, so I've got this one that I just wrote down. You'll see it in the tab. The effectiveness of social media markets and to establish SMEs in South Africa.
Okay, do you want to do quantitative or qualitative?
Definitely quantitative.
Okay, so we need the two variables. So explaining the role of explaining the role or describing the role. But I'd go with
Explaining the role, yeah.
the role of, and you want to use social media marketing.
Yes.
Okay. Explaining the role of social media marketing in, no, sorry, boy. Explaining, yeah, okay, let's just leave it there. Explaining the role of social media marketing
Yes.
In promoting business success within a specific industry, within SMMEs, and promoting business success. And we can refine this later, but it's at this stage where we want to be, business success in SMMEs. Okay. And
okay,
then
I like that. Thank you.
okay, so business success, we would use the balanced scorecard. There are lots of research scales on in balanced scorecard already.
Okay.
So we definitely want to look at balanced scorecard. And then, yeah, so you need to go look for a model in social media marketing. Hold on, I can do that.
Because obviously it's very prevalent in the modern day age that we live in, because every business uses it to justify how well they are doing. So that's why I thought it could be a pretty established version, and all the data is there.
Let me see if we've got a scale we can use. There must be an existing scale. Here it is, where I'm just going to share.
Thank you.
I've been a little bit slack. I didn't type scholarly article, but I don't want it to, because it's rendered that. There's a measure of social media marketing, a scale. So see what I've searched. Normally, I would just add those two words. What am I doing? I'm an idiot. Sorry. So scale, scholarly articles. Remember those two words. Every time you search, just stick those two words in. Let me see what's changed. Okay. In there, you can see scales. So you can see the search. Okay, boy. And then the way we measure organizational success is you do this. What did I say? Balanced scorecard. Sorry, I'm an idiot. Balanced scorecard, research scale. And we know there are plenty of those. You can see there, boy.
Yeah.
Okay. That's perfect.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay, boy. Look after yourself. Cheers, eh? Okay, Tabi saying you can go. We've got yours. Pranisha, haven't you got anything yet?
I'm sorry, sir. I just typed you a message in the thing.
Oh
in the
gosh,
chat
sorry.
bar,
There's
because I
so
was
much
missing the
happening.
last part. Yeah.
Oh gosh, effective internal
Sorry.
organizational communication. Your
Okay,
word.
thank you. I just wanted to make sure.
I'm
Thank
just bullying you, Tabi saying report
All right,
me immediately. It's a pleasure, man. Cheers. Okay. Come, Pranisha, talk to me. Or did Pranisha forget to log off? I thought you had a title, actually. Okay, Sipasishle, talk to me. Spesishle, sorry, Spesishle. Spesishle. Spesishle, I've got class starting soon, so I need something from you. Yeah, I'm going to log off. We'll have to chat tomorrow. I've got to get ready for my next class. Pranisha, okay. Do you have a title, Pranisha? Okay, why did you stay on? It's only for people who don't have titles, Pranisha. I thought you had one. I thought we had delete you. Yeah, you can go. It's just for people without titles. Especially, I've got to get ready for my next class, so I don't know. Oh, that's fine. I mean, everyone's lines are dropping tonight. It seems that the rain in Durban has caused this. I'm assuming you're somewhere in Durban. No, don't worry at all, man. Have a good evening. Okay.